The Neurophone, I wanted one so bad. It's like somebody up there gave it to me.
Gave me
the idea.
And then you were just so motivated. And I remember you telling me a long time ago that the motivation was that you felt like you weren't learning fast enough. Like you were so hungry for knowledge, but it wasn't coming in quickly enough. So then you wanted to invent this device so that you could learn even more.
Exactly. Yeah, so I could speed up everything. And I also wanted to learn while I slept. The idea was that I could put a talking book. Back then they came on records. But put a talking book into a record player and wear that when I slept, and then I'd wake up in the morning with the knowledge.
Like it's going into your unconscious.
Right.
Through this, the information is just downloading, like a computer, which is essentially what the brain is anyway.
It is, but when we sleep at night, our brain cuts off our hearing. So speaker pillows, if you were to put a pillow under a speaker under your pillow and play a talking book while you slept, it wouldn't go into your brain. The Neurophone bypasses that and sends it right into your brain. So that was the original idea. And then we discovered that just wearing the Neurophone with the signal increases your ability to hear, to learn through your ears, through your eyes, through everything.
I remember that in high school that like normally I could read a book and read many pages and then all of a sudden realize that I didn't remember anything that I just read. I'd been reading for 20 minutes and nothing was recalled. And then I started using and it could be a novel even, you know, not even something where you're really absorbing new information. And then I would read my textbook in biology or my algebra book, which was really difficult, with the Neurophone, and not only just be able to recall it 5 minutes after I read it, which was already kind of a miracle in my life, but you know, a week later when it was time for the exam and the pressure was on, all of a sudden the information is just pouring through me like effortlessly without having even to recall something. And this was just like all of a sudden I felt like you, like I felt like a genius all of a sudden, and it was just amazing that I didn't even have to do anything except for put the electrodes on my forehead and read. That's it.
Well, the Neurophone brings out the genius in all of us.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I felt like all of a sudden I'm a genius too. I don't know who this guy is who invented this thing, but I just, you know, all of a sudden I'm like him, and I can basically do anything now if I want.
You became a little genius.
I think the key problem is you walk into a meeting room for a presentation, and instead of worrying about your pitch, about what you need to get across, you're worried about, can I connect? Can I get it working? That's a problem that you shouldn't have to worry about.
I was trying to do a presentation to basically our entire company, including the CEO, but I wanted to turn my laptop around to show people actually what was on my laptop screen. And as I was doing that, the HDMI cable actually broke off in my computer, and I went, uh-oh, this is not good. And that was the end of the presentation.
Here we are demoing the Airtame technology, where we're basically cutting cables and streaming wirelessly from all platforms. You basically just plug in an Airtame into the screen, and then it's one click from here. We're connecting to I have a stream, and as you can see, there's nothing plugged in to the computer, and the latency is also pretty great. So that's what we're doing here at CE Week. Airtame, cutting cables, work better wirelessly, and that's it.
When I was an intern in an office last summer, I was responsible for setting up the presentations. I always had confusion with the wires, and when it wasn't working, it was on my back, and I was trying to figure it out, and I think something like this would make that so much easier.
They're a pain. You got to put these on, screw these stupid things in, and so they're kind of garbage, pretty old school.
Actually, my roommate in college did have one of these rip off of the side of his computer, and we couldn't use it anymore, so yeah.
Put that away. Yeah, I don't like cables. I think it's cool because, I mean, you can use it on any device, any OS. I think that's the beauty of it. You don't need to worry about anything, and you just plug it in, and then it's being mirrored. I think it's cool.
You know, in the office, you're not going to spend 15 minutes setting up wires and fumbling around and trying to connect.
The most important thing is to do is if you can eliminate them, if you can live without that, it's one less thing for you to worry about in your life.
When you see a problem, my brain just immediately starts thinking about how I could put these things together, these materials or these processes together to really solve that problem. There's a personal satisfaction I get in being able to take technology and do something very meaningful and important and valuable with it. My name is Stefan Marsh. I'm the inventor of the AirRing technology and the president of the company.
My name's Tom Cottons. I live in Southborough, Massachusetts with my wife. I'm a farmer. That's what I like to do. I found I had sleep apnea through a test.
Sleep apnea is an inability to maintain normal ventilation during sleep.
Oftentimes there's very dramatic snoring, gasping, and choking in the night.
Why it's important to treat sleep apnea is the longer-term consequences, and that's where the associations with heart disease, metabolic disease,
higher risk of stroke, coronary disease, heart attack.
When you stop breathing and there's no oxygen going to your brain, that's going to do some damage over time.
The most common treatment is delivery of airway pressure through a mask.
It wasn't working for me. It was extremely cumbersome. I didn't want to take the mask off. I wanted to rip the mask off.
It's a minority of patients who are able to tolerate the treatment at home.
So I've got to find some way to deal with this and keep a smile on my face.
Man starts out usually doing things in a way that's brute force, but sometimes you can figure out a way to do it that's a little bit more elegant, a little bit easier, simpler, but that usually requires an invention.
This is amazing. I really think that if this works, this will be the answer for 99% of them. They'll never go back to using that Star Wars piece on their head again. When I see this, I say, how can that possibly get the air in me?
When I first talk to people about this, and I say, well, you know, we have these little micro pumps, and it turns out that they're very powerful, and they can pump the right amount of air at the right amount of pressure. Their first response is, no way, get out of here. And and I go, well, yes, I think we can, because our micro pumps, our micro blowers, are very, very small. It's based on two membranes that are electrostatically attracted or repelled from each other. Opposite charges attract, and that's the bellows closing and blowing the air out. And like charges repel, and that's the bellows opening and sucking air in. And if hundreds and hundreds of these little bellows are plus and minus going together, you get a large amount of air to flow through. Zinc Air Batteries is a battery technology that has a lot of stored energy in it. It's very dense, which means it can be very small and have the right amount of energy. The nose buds, they're easy to insert. Really, it's one hand, grab it, stick it in your nose, you're done. The molded silicone rubber is extremely pliable. Everybody that we've tested it with has found it very comfortable.
Really, for the first time in this disease, we have a treatment that patients will be willing to use. The long-term consequences of sleep apnea will be reduced. It's comfortable, it's well tolerated, patients can sleep in a variety of positions. It's just a perfect treatment.
It's almost like I can't wait to try. I gotta know.
It's important to get this technology, to get this device, to get the AirRing into people's hands as quickly as possible. The fastest way that I know how to do that is to raise sufficient amount of money so we can manufacture it, produce it, and get it out there. So we're here to ask you to give us a hand. If you can take this simple technology and treat this sleeping disorder, this condition, it just, that's what technology is for. You've got to go do something that's important. And I can't think of anything more important for these blowers to do than to save somebody's life.